Tonight, one of the most high-profile bounty hunters in the country, Dog the Bounty Hunter, appears to be joining in on the search for 31-year-old Joshua Zimmerman.
Well, you know, I'm a bounty hunter and I go after fugitives.
This weekend, he posted on social media, directing people to call or text 833-TELL-DOG if they have any information.
An accused killer made the slip right out from under DeSoto County deputies a few days ago, and tonight Sheriff Thomas Tuggle admits he has no idea where fugitive Joshua Zimmerman is.
This was a good Samaritan that was just trying to help a fellow Mississippian, but that's not even the case. Now, Sheriff Tuggle tells me moments after Zimmerman escaped custody inside the DeSoto County Courthouse, he ran to a nearby gas station and asked, like I said, a man for help getting a ride somewhere. You'll hear from Sheriff Tuggle in just a second, but let's get straight to the video. Joshua Zimmerman was already in the custody of the DeSoto County Sheriff's Office last Friday on an attempted murder charge and was being housed at the DeSoto County Adult Detention Center. Then, that morning, he was moved to the county courthouse for what was supposed to be a hearing before a judge, but minutes later, after entering that courthouse, this with other inmates, they were all in shackles, Sheriff Tuggle says Zimmerman exited through that hallway, through one of the doors there, and somehow removed those shackles, escaping the building in an alley behind that building, walking across the street and then asking for that ride.
So it was a good Samaritan that gave this guy a ride, is how he got to Memphis. Everything lined up for Zimmerman. Everything lined up. It was just that day. 260 days of planning. It was just that day that everything lined up for this individual. But I promise you this, we're going to find him.
Okay guys, we are on day 56 of the manhunt for Joshua. Zimmerman escaped from the DeSoto County Courthouse on June 14th. He was last seen in Memphis, Tennessee on June 15th. He hasn't been seen in 56 days, and originally it was said that he planned to go to Connecticut. Obviously that's still on the table, but here's what we know right now. The following regions should have their guard way up. Those regions include West Memphis, Arkansas, Connecticut, that goes from New Haven to Waterbury, the towns in between, Florida, the state of Florida right now, Georgia, Mississippi, North Carolina, and Tennessee. I'm going to get a little bit more specific on Georgia, North Carolina, and Tennessee as well. As far as Mississippi, that remains DeSoto County. Be on the lookout. South Haven, remain on the lookout. It's very likely that he is still within walking distance of that area. Keep that in mind and remain vigilant. Now, Richmond, Virginia, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Cleveland, Ohio, Dover and Wilmington, Delaware, Baltimore, Maryland, Annapolis, Maryland, Miami, Orlando, Gainesville, Fort Lauderdale, and Clearwater, Florida, Albany and Buffalo, Niagara, New York. Start being on the lookout. That is because Zimmerman might have boarded a bus of sorts and made his way across country. If that's the case, obviously it's a matter of time until they're able to confirm it and get a solid visual. But again, there is a little bit of a time delay, so stay on the lookout. And we saw that during Cavalcante. When Cavalcante left Longwood Gardens, we announced it at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and at 2 o'clock the next day in the afternoon is when they told the public that he was out of the area and now over there, right? So it's about being, for that it was common sense because they closed the perimeter, but in this case it's being proactive. The routes that we understand, and this is from the companies that Dog was able to tap as resources to assist in this manhunt, and they include not just us but private intelligence agencies out of Virginia that do stuff like this. So from what they gathered so far, and that all was shared with the U.S. Marshals and also the authorities that need to know, which doesn't include DeSoto County anymore, because if he is in Mississippi, or I'm sorry, if he's in Tennessee and he goes back to DeSoto, obviously that'll be movement. They'll catch him, they'll arrest him. But the information is being shared with law enforcement agencies that are in the regions that are potentially getting affected. So tips and information like that get faxed over, emailed over to the right department. So again, right now, the following regions, start being on a lookout, and then also try to think back in time a little bit. Up and say you are in North Carolina, we need you to think back to July 4th up until July 15th. If you saw the escaped prisoner, it would have possibly been during that time frame near a Greyhound station. And if you are in the Georgia region, it would have been shortly. So that's what we are trying to get this solid timeline. But again, it's possible that he passed through those and didn't stay. But it's also possible that he stayed. Again, for North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina, that area from July 4th until July 15th, that is a time to think back, and just in case you ran into somebody that matches this description, it could be a man or a woman. Also, Atlanta, Georgia, that is a major region of interest for Zimmerman. And again, I'm going to go down the list. So West Memphis, Arkansas, you're so close to the actual escape, be on the lookout. We did see the Arkansas State Police are involved in the manhunt. If you are in Connecticut, be on the lookout, because that is where the escapee began his crime spree. And that is his stomping grounds where he wants to return and kill. So be very vigilant. If you run into him in Connecticut, over there, it's the worst place to apprehend or approach. Let the police do it. Call 911. They'll get there quick. Let them handle it. They are prepared. They know what to expect, and they know how to handle somebody like that. Okay, they know what they're walking into, and they'll blow his head off if they have to. Zimmerman is dangerous. He is going to kill, and the police are not going to let him do that. They will take him out first. So if you see him, call 911. Don't be a hero, because he will kill you, and then he'll kill responding officers, right? So you have to call the police if you see him, and then just try to stay out of it, you know? Obviously, if he's running after you, keep going. If he's shooting at you, try to dodge it, shoot back if you have a gun. But again, do not try to confront the guy. Do not engage. Do not make even eye contact. If it looks like Zimmerman, call in a suspicious person that matches a description of somebody that could be the escaped prisoner. They're not going to bring you into prison for making, as long as you're not swatting, you know what I mean? But an honest tip that might lead to something is better than not calling, and it is him, because I think that is going to be a big problem in this manhunt. Not so much coordination, it's corruption in DeSoto, not coordination. So thankfully, the U.S. Marshals are the best in the world when it comes to chasing people. That's all they do, and we have some of the best marshals there are. They are on this task force that catches a majority of the violent offenders in the United States. Zimmerman is a clown compared to the people that they go after. So they're going to catch him, or he's going to die. That's his option, right? But the thing is, Zimmerman is going to kill, and he is going to rape, and he is going to kidnap. So again, Arkansas, if you're in West Memphis and the regions surrounding that, be on the lookout. Connecticut, be on a heavy lookout, because if he's there, that's a problem. Call the cops, steer clear, get away. That's the best advice I can give you. Don't make it obvious that you called. Don't make it obvious at all. The issue is, if he made it to the East Coast, that's where I'm getting with Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. The leads being chased are not random. They are very specific routes that had come up through the investigation, right? We're not just looking at random bus routes. So these cities, there is a high chance that if he did not pass through there yet, other than North Carolina, because it's extremely possible that if he left Memphis, that he already hit North Carolina and Georgia. But again, be ready for him to be gone, okay? And when I say that, I mean if you are in New York, you should be putting your guard up, as well as Florida, because he has some unfinished business in Florida to handle, and that's in Broward County. So again, guys, Atlanta, Georgia, be on the lookout. Raleigh, North Carolina, be on the lookout. And specifically from July 4th until July 15th, if you have information, send it over to me. Richmond, Virginia, same time frame, but it would have been a pass-by. He would not have gotten off and stayed there. So he would have stayed on. But if you got on a Greyhound in Richmond, Virginia, anytime between July 7th and July 17th, DM me, please. And we'll go from there. Next is Washington, D.C. Now, that city he might have gotten off and stayed in. He might be in Washington, D.C. So if you are in Washington, D.C., put your guard up and start letting people on the streets know that there's a cross-dressing snitch killer that's raping men, raping women, robbing, literally everything that you shouldn't do as a gangster, a human, or anything he's doing. Next, after D.C., Philadelphia and Pittsburgh is a lesser chance than Philly right now. Philly is on the list, just as high as Washington, D.C. He either got off in Philadelphia or he got off in Washington, D.C. if the bus pans out to be true. Again, nothing is confirmed until there's a visual sighting, nothing. but this is out of an abundance of caution. It's time that we have to go to the other route in case he did breach those state borders, and it's possible. So Philly and Pittsburgh. Cleveland, Ohio, you guys are just as likely as Pittsburgh. When I say that, I mean if he came to Pittsburgh, he would have gone through Cleveland from Greyhound. Like, that would have been a stop into Pittsburgh. Dover, Delaware, and Wilmington, Delaware. Wilmington, you guys are more likely than not because of your radius to Philadelphia. Baltimore, Maryland, you guys are on there because of Washington, D.C., and the stops in between, which include Annapolis, Maryland. So Annapolis, Maryland, and Baltimore, Maryland. Be on the lookout because of his Washington, D.C. final destination, if that pans out to be true. If Philly pans out to be true, it's a different route, okay? So I'm going to break it down more in depth later on today when I have it better instead of on a scribble pad over here. Next, Miami, Florida, Orlando, Florida, Gainesville, Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Clearwater, Florida. Be on the lookout. If you are in Broward County, again, he has unfinished business there. He's going to come there and he might kill people there. Not as many as he wants to kill in Connecticut, because for Connecticut, our understanding is that he's trying to kill more people there to get sentenced there and not go back to Texas, even though that's not how it works. That's just not how it works. That's not gonna work at all, but that's his mindset. As for Florida, if he's in Broward County, he's coming to kill specific people, and that is what he does. He doesn't like to leave loose ends, and it's possible that he's coming back through Florida, as he used Florida and Georgia and North Carolina on his run that started this spree. So we're seeing a spree killer go in reverse from his original run that started in Waterbury, Connecticut in the summer of 23. He has now been on the run essentially for a year, honestly, guys, if you think about it, because he started the run when he was charged with raping a man last summer. So that's wild. So now it's 1 year. He escaped 56 days ago, but he's been on the run for 1 year. He ran from Connecticut to get away from a rape, killed his girlfriend while on the run with a gun that he stole from his sister's fiance, and he used that in another crime. Kills the girlfriend in Houston, takes a Greyhound to Mississippi, tries to kill a guy after he robs the house with another girl, steals his truck, gets caught. Fast forward to June, he breaks out, gun again, he gets the gun, and keys and everything. I'm not going to go through that. And he gets out and he goes. So we're dealing with somebody that's been on the run since last summer. He got lucky because he was able to get a second chance. They chased him for a long time, guys. They caught him because he went to kill somebody, and then he got away again. So imagine if Danilo Cavalcante escaped tomorrow. The only difference with him and this guy is the publicity just isn't there. But if it's the same exact thing, if Danilo Cavalcante escaped tomorrow, you guys would be livid and going crazy. That's what we're dealing with right now. This isn't his first rodeo. He got caught during a manhunt and he escaped. It's the same manhunt that it was a year ago, which is wild. So again, he might likely return to his stomping grounds, finish what he started because he's getting death, or he's going to be a smarter person. And I'm going to say this because I'm hoping he takes this advice and he's going to try to hurt nobody like Cavalcante did and make a run to Canada. I mean, all the luck to you, bro. If you make it, cool. If you don't, cool. It is what it is. But killing is not the way to go. If he's on the run and he's truly on the run, he's going to keep running, right? He's not going to stop, kill, rape. He's not. We'll know in the coming days, and honestly, in the coming weeks. We don't know if he killed 7 or 8 or 20 people right now. We just don't know because of how many states are involved. Again, one last time, be on the lookout in these areas. It's going to be a list. It's a long list. Arkansas, Connecticut, Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, North Carolina, Tennessee, Atlanta, Georgia, Raleigh, North Carolina, Richmond, Virginia, Washington, D.C. Heavy, be on the lookout because that's a very likely possibility if the bus pans out. Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Philly, more likely than Pittsburgh. Philly is very likely as it was before. D.C. is a final stop. Philly was the second to last. Cleveland, Ohio, Dover, and Wilmington, Delaware, Baltimore, Maryland, Annapolis, Maryland, Miami, Orlando, Gainesville, Fort Lauderdale, Clearwater, Florida, Albany, and Buffalo, Niagara, New York. Also, other regions of New York, like the Bronx and stuff, be on the lookout. In any areas, D.C., be on the lookout in your hood area where, like, drugs are sold, because that's where this guy is going to try to go. Again, stay safe, stay vigilant. If you see something, say something. It's never too late to start cooperating. And the time is now. I know I said that before, but literally, the time is now. It's been over a month. He's not going to get away. You're going to get 45 years. He's going to kill himself, and then what? It's not going to work, you know? Stay safe, stay vigilant, see something, say something, call the U.S. Marshals, call Dog the Bounty Hunter, and I'm going to tweet a few cell numbers that are going to be set up for certain states for this manhunt. Send a text to it, and it'll come straight to me and the team and Dog, and all of them literally will see it. If you guys spam it, it is what it is, but we'll see it, and we'll just keep ignoring the spam. We don't care about that. Send us information. It'll stay anonymous, and let's catch us.